In yet another question that was asked, and it was, what are the most very essential fundamental rights of workers in Qatar? What are your rights? What are the most very fundamental rights that definitely you should understand? You are planning to come to Qatar as the first comer in this country. You are in Qatar for that regard, or you have any dream of coming to Qatar in this country. What are those fundamental rights? Yes, one of the very, very important fundamental rights that I keep on talking about. There are normally very many, but I'll just go through most of them. One is, let us try to look at not paying what you call a recruitment company fees. Recruitment fees, for example, let's say, for example, the cost of the visa, the cost of the ticket. Yes, most of these fees are supposed to be paid by what you call your sponsor. In case you are going to work for that company, outsourced by that company is the one supposed to pay for you. That this includes the cost of securing Qatar ID and the renewal. It's supposed to be the company that is supposed to be in charge. However, most of us have come here and we've ended up being in other scenario, which may be contemporary to what you see, definitely no. Then we look at number 2 is the contract that you should understand before signing the contract. It's very important. It's a fundamental right as you a person. Not only is the work of the employer to get it, but also you should know the contract, what you're signing, what is inclusive of the contract. Does it match what you sign, what you agreed in the offer letter? Then in that regard, then definitely it's your right. Then it's your right also to have a copy of your contract, which can be downloaded under the Ministry of Labour website. In whatever case, yes, you need to keep a copy of that contract. Let us look at number 3. We look at what we call keeping your passport and your QID, ATM safe away and all the time within your possession. Yes, most of us, we've got scenarios whereby the sponsor, the employers are the one keeping us the passport, even if at a situation where we've already got what we call your QID. Yes, it's your fundamental right and you're supposed to keep your passport with you. Remember, any employer or any sponsor within the custody of your passport without your consent, definitely it is a fine, and you as an individual, you have the right to have that passport with you, your QID, and you have to have it that. You remember, we look at the provision that entitles you to keep your passport. A penalty can be a penalty of between 10,000 to 25,000 is normally given to that employer in case the employer violates the law, which is section 8 of law of 21 of 2015. So definitely know that as an individual. Then let us look at number 4. We look at working hours. Working hours is 48 hours per week. Regular working hours is 36 hours per week. Yes, when you look at the basic wage, should not be less than what we call 25%. Yes, most of you have been asking me those questions. I have very many people here that ask me that question. Then we know that except what we call shift workers can work between shift of 9 p.m. to 6 p.m. depending on what we call the company organization. Then also we have basic wage payment and an increase of not less than 50%. If work circumstances necessary, workers are supposed to work on weekend, yes, those days of rest can be compensated in that regard. So definitely know that the working hours, 48 to 36 hour working hours, which should not be more than 10 hours a day regarding in any scenario, and any hours that go beyond 10 hours a day, that means it's calculated as what we call overtime. However, still when we look at that, look at what we call the contract, the offer letter you accepted, and the contract you signed with that company. In that regard, that gets to waive you up. Then we look at number 5. We look at what we call work, 1 day off at least a week, usually Friday. Yes, it's usually Friday because Friday is not a working day for all, but however, if in that kind of scenario working day for you, then your company has to compensate for you another day that is supposed to get you off in that regard. Even domestic workers, also according to the fundamental rights, the domestic workers are also entitled to what you call day off in that regard. Though some of the employers in where you may go, they may be violating it out, but you are entitled to that in that kind of regard. Then we look at work in a safe and safety, work in safe and health environment. Yes, most most of you will agree with me that workplaces from 10 to 30 cm, 330 definitely. We look at periods when we have excessive winter, definitely you must have enough covering for yourself. Then we look at periods when we have summer at its peak, then you must be protected. That's why you see normally when it comes to summer heat and it is at the peak, you see they kind of try to regulate the working hours just to protect what you call, to provide what you call a safe and healthy environment. Yes. Then also number 7, we look at what you call getting paid through what you call a bank account, which 1 month, that is law number 1 of 2015, which calls WPS law. The WPS law states that every worker is entitled to be paid through what you call a WPS system. You are supposed to receive your money into what you call a bank account that should be opened by your employer. This is to make sure that they track the records of the payment. However, some of you are still even paid by hand without even a record, just paid by hand, but you don't even have anywhere to sign. So most of the times this will be very hard for you if you are going to claim in any way or in any situation. It will be a little bit very hard for you in that regard. This, let us try to look at what you call a non-discriminatory minimum wage. Yes, when you look at a non-discriminatory wage, then we shall look at law number 17 of 2020. Yes, it applies to all workers, including what you call domestic workers. That's why you see when you look at that law that we have, it was gazetted, the basic wage that is supposed to be given is 1,000. That is inclusive of what you call food allowance, 300 and 500, depending on the kind of scenario. If the company gives you what you call housing, then definitely they will give you 1,300 as the basic for 8 hours. If the company gives you accommodation and food both, they will give you a basic salary of what you call 1,000. That is for the basic 8 hours. Unless otherwise, there are excess hours that you definitely have to work. Yes, there are some companies that may give you accommodation, some companies may not give you in that regard. So it is, it's a fundamental right, and you're entitled to that right. Yes, when you see law of the basic wage, that came the law came into effect in 2020 March. That is 2021 March. Yes, where the basic allowances, we look at housing allowances, food allowances for all workers, including the domestic workers. Yes. Let us look at number 9. We look at what you call basic minimum benefits. For example, employment other than less than 15 years. You have sick leave payment. We have salary unpaid sick leave. You have paid leave maximum, termination if you're licensed, physical report. Yes, most of you in this situation, we look at the basic minimum wage. Let us look at the riders, the border rider or deliver riders. Most of you have got into accidents, you've got accident, but you don't know where to get the compensation, and you're given minimum that one. But if you have what you call a medical report, physician report that you are unfit to work, then definitely you understand that this could be the reason, and you have supposed to be compensated in that regard. Then let us look at number 10. We look at what you call end of service benefits. Yes, end of service benefits, depending on how long you've worked with that company, definitely it's also a fundamental right, and you are supposed to be paid your basic. If you are changing employer from here within local visa hire, changing from one visa to another within the country, and after insurance of your QID, definitely they have to pay you. Some companies will even pay you due before even you change your sponsorship. However, most of the companies, they require you to change sponsorship, transfer your sponsorship duly to another company. They'll pay you end of service bonus. In either way, you are entitled to what you call your end of service benefits in that code. Then we say records justifying what you call salary deductions. Yes, we've got into some companies where they keep on deducting salaries in any way, which you may not be aware, or which you may know. Definitely in that regard, you definitely know that you are entitled, and you should know where your deductions that need to go, and where your money in case it's not given to you as in due. Then we see change of sponsorship. Yes, change of sponsorship is your fundamental right. In case you've got a new offer after finishing the old contract, yes, you can change what you call your change of sponsorship, or you can transfer according to the law of 18 and 19 of 20. However, you should understand there is what you call giving what you call a notice period, which you should not wait. You should not forget. Then filing a complaint with or seeking assistance with the Ministry of Labor. It is your right under your contract. In case of anything that goes off, you have the right to seek and file a complaint and seek assistance from the Ministry of Labor. Hope I've tried to share something for you. Yes, let us try to look at what we call a labor dispute settlement system of the state of Qatar. That is Law 13 of 16 of August 2015. All these kind of laws are helping you, but the fundamental rights are definitely, as an individual, you should be able to know, and you should understand, or in any case. Hope I've tried to share something for you. Thank you so much. Remember, so it's Mex from the Mexcreationtv.